by virtue of being human. This is just how we're constructed. We acquire certain patterns, how we function in the world, and how we relate to other people, and we live out these patterns. This is not about health or sickness. This is not about a diagnosis. This is not pathology. This is how we are constructed. This is what it means to be human. We live in a world of patterns, and we create patterns for better or worse. Right? I mean, if the patterns that we live out are patterns that allow for connection, fulfillment, engagement, joy, then all is well. If they're causing suffering or limitation, well, then all is not well. But either way, we're living out certain kinds of patterns, especially relationship patterns, right? We see ourselves and we see other people through the lenses of our early formative relationships. And we recreate the patterns of those early relationships one way or another. Right? So we bring our patterns with us wherever we go. Now, here's the important part. Psychotherapy is also a relationship. And when a person comes into psychotherapy, they bring their relationship patterns with them, necessarily and unavoidably. Right? And the therapist, we could say, will be drawn into the gravitational pull of that person's patterns. We find ourselves being a certain way with this person that's different from how we are with that person. We find ourselves reliving and reenacting certain life patterns with them. Right? The patient brings their lenses for how they see other people into the therapy relationship. They apply those lenses to make sense of this new person and this new relationship, and they behave accordingly. Right? We have a word for that. That's what we call transference. Transference is bringing those lenses and those patterns with us. The ways we've experienced other relationships in some important way gets transferred into this new relationship. Right? And this is the most important thing that happens in therapy. Most of the difficulties, I want to say most, because there's always exceptions, but most of the difficulties that bring people to treatment are embedded in their patterns of relating and attaching to other people, or failing to relate and attach to other people. And they bring these patterns into the therapy. And if we do it properly, we arrange the therapy situation in such a way that we can see those patterns in high relief, right? We're not just talking about them in the abstract. It's not an academic exercise. We are both experiencing them, living them together in the here and now, right? And this is where they can be noticed, recognized, described in words, and hopefully reworked in a way that can allow the person to function in a way that's more satisfying, right? In a way that can help free them from repeating these patterns. So at the heart of psychodynamic or psychoanalytic therapies, which is to say traditional talk therapy, is the idea that the therapy relationship itself becomes a window into what goes wrong and what goes right in the person's other relationships, right? And a place where those patterns can be understood and reworked. And that is the essence, that is the heart of psychodynamic or psychoanalytic therapy approaches. Right? We don't have to talk about what the patient is doing with somebody else somewhere else. We're living it with them here and now in one way or another. And that is necessarily true. That is the essence of the work. Let me say it in a more pithy way. We count on the patient to f up the therapy relationship in the same kind of ways that they f up their other relationships. And that's what makes it possible to help them rework that. That's the essence of it.